You are Locked On Sun Devils, your daily podcast on the Arizona State Sun Devils. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
That was certainly one of the basketball games of all time. Hey, everyone. Welcome to Locked On Sun Devils Live. I'm Richie Bradshaw. I'll be your guide for everything Arizona State Sun Devils. That stunk. We can just call it what it is. Dude, 35 minutes. For 35 minutes, Arizona State was in control of this basketball game. And the season's on the line, man. The season is on the line. They are, God, what are they? 2-6 in conference play, 11-8 overall, and they've lost 6 of their last 7, something like that. That's just, you can't do that, man. You can't do that. 5 of their last 6 and 7 of their last 9. What? Yeah. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it'd be 7 of their last 10, 6 of their last. Dude, I'm so bad at math. Point is, they're not looking good right now, and I don't like the chances of going to the tournament at this point in time, and I certainly don't like the chances of ASU living up to any of the expectations that we may have placed on this team. And I was certainly one of the people that put a lot of expectations on this team. Year 10 of the Bobby Hurley era, it was the greatest recruiting class this program has ever seen, Bobby Hurley or otherwise. 2 5-stars and a 4-star freshman that came in. We were supposed to be so much better than this, and yet it's just a typical average Bobby Hurley team where they come out and they absolutely dominate non-conference play. They were 9-2. Their only 2 losses were Gonzaga and Florida, both of whom are ranked in the top 10 right now. And it doesn't even matter, man. Or that was their ranking when they were playing, excuse me. They were number 6 and they were number 9. Sorry, Gonzaga has gone downhill. And since then, and their losses aren't even losses that you should feel like proud of, kind of thing. Like, you know me, I'm not a moral victories guy, but BYU, they got crushed. Kansas, they got crushed. Baylor, they didn't score in overtime. I think they got 1 bucket. UCF, they should have won that game. It was high scoring. Couldn't figure it out. Cincinnati, low scoring game. Should have been able to win the slugfest, and they couldn't. And Iowa State today, they controlled that game for 35 minutes right up until they didn't control it. And it stunk. And it was really frustrating to watch because I'm sitting there watching this game and I'm like, do we have a chance? Like, is this where it all turns around? They got a ranked win on Tuesday over West Virginia. It was a very good football game that they were able to, or football game, goodness. That's how much we talk about football in Locked On Sun Devils. It was a really good basketball game for ASU. They did a lot of things right in that game. And yet, when I see this today and it looks like the same things are there, when it gets to crunch time, it just complete meltdown from this team. That can't happen. It can't happen. It can't happen in years where you have super high expectations. It can't happen in years where you're just looking to be competitive. And this was a year where there were high expectations. And this is a year where we just were hoping to get back on track. I mean, Bobby Hurley has 3 seasons of 20-plus wins. And there's no reason that this team shouldn't be a 20-plus win team. But, I mean, looking at the rest of the schedule, it's winnable. There's only one more ranked win or ranked team currently on there with Houston, and I promise you that's a loss, but you still have to play U of A twice, who's rebounded-ish. If my memory stands, Colorado stinks. Yep, they're 16th. K-State is pretty decent. Nope, they're bad too. Who am I thinking of? They're bad. Oklahoma State is bad. Texas Tech, that's the one I'm thinking of where they're better than you think. They're 4th. TCU is 10th. Like, there's you get your get back game against BYU. They're 9th. There's no reason that ASU can't turn this thing around. They are the more talented basketball team, but they're 14th in the conference right now with 2 wins. You can't have any kind of confidence in this team right now, when you certainly can't have confidence in the coaching. I'm a Bobby Hurley guy in the sense of I think he's good enough to win with him in theory. Because every year we've got these talented basketball teams, and recently, pretty much since COVID, the retention of these teams just isn't there. I heard this the other day from someone, and they were saying it's really hard to get invested into a team that is constantly changing. Let's look at the last 3 years. The 2022-23 season was Frankie Collins, Des Cambridge, Devin Cambridge, Warren Washington, and DJ Horn. The next year, Frankie Collins returns. The other 4 are gone. And then it's Frankie Collins and, who was my boy? Who's at Creighton now? We'll get there. So it's him. They had Jose Perez. Dude, am I really just not going to remember this team? In fairness, it wasn't a very good basketball team. Who else was on that team? Adam Miller, who is back. Sean Phillips wasn't a full-time starter, but he was back as well. Jemiah Neal, that's who it was. Alonzo Gaffney, what a player. It was not a team that was easy to get invested in, but again, look at the turnover. Adam Miller is the only returning starter. Sean Phillips was a depth player, and he's a really good role player for the team, and he's healthy this year. But other than that, I mean, the retention of this team just is not there. It's different players every single year, and we wonder why people just can't get invested in the Sun Devils team. And I don't see any reason why that would change next year. In fact, it's a lot of guys who are going to graduate. BJ Freeman, Bashir Jihad, and Alston Mason are all going to graduate. Like, your best case scenario is you bring back Jaden Quaintance and you bring back Josan Sanin. Good luck with that. At this point, I still have faith in Sanin to come, or in Quaintance to come back. I have no idea what's going to happen with Sanin at this point, because he already said that he plans to go pro. But is this the year that he wants to propel himself to go pro? And if it's not, does he want to get himself in a better situation where he can play better basketball on a better team? I don't know. But ASU is not what they were supposed to be this year. That's the most frustrating part of all of this. I had big expectations for the team. I thought for sure they were going to be a lock to go to the tournament. And look, it's not that they can't. They could still find a way there. But my goodness, do you have a lot of work to do? I mean, you got to win. How many games are left? 2. Okay. I touched the screen and it went to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 12 games left. I feel like you got to win like 8 of them. I feel like you've got to be able to get to, dude, that'd be a 500 record in the conference. You'd be 10-10. You would be 19 wins and 12 losses. And then you would have to make noise in the Big 12 conference tournament as well. There's just no way that that's feasible the way they're currently playing basketball right now. And there's no reason to believe they can at this point either. There's a lot of issues with this team, man. The turnovers are, I don't remember ever being this frustrated on a week-to-week, game-to-game basis, knowing that we're going to have as many turnovers as we have. We're averaging over 13 turnovers a game. That cannot happen. And it's collectively, too. It's not like one person is the main cause. Bashir Jihad, 2.9 turnovers a game. Jaden Quaintance, 2.2. Alston Mason, 1.8. BJ Freeman, 1.7. Sean Phillips Jr., who's only playing 12.6 minutes, is still turning it over 1.5 times a game. You're turning the ball over at such an excessive rate, and you just are not going to be able to go anywhere. Free throw shooting is better by 5%. I think 5.2%. Last year was 65.5. You're at 70.7. That's an improvement. It's certainly going in the right direction. It's still bad. It's still bad, and you're still not anywhere where you should be confident that when the game is on the line, you can make those opportunities. They're averaging 74.2 points per game. That's 5.2 more than they averaged last year. 36.3% three-point shooting. It's fine for an ASU team. 44.5% field goal percentage. It's fine for an ASU team, but how many of those stats are just super underwhelming? But we sit here as Arizona State Sun Devil fans, we go, that's fine. It could be a lot worse. Like, what are we doing? And this team is just too talented. It's too talented. 2 5-stars and a 4-star freshman, Amir Ali, who is at this program too. Trevor Best is now with the program, and he's a recruit for 2025, but he was able to graduate high school a whole semester early, so he's on the team now. I don't know if there's any expectations for him, but I don't know what we're going to do. There's no depth on this team. That's another thing. There's no depth here. After your starting 5, after Bashir Jihad, Jaden Quaintance, Alston Mason, BJ Freeman, and Adam Miller. Sean Phillips, one of your primary guys, 12.6 minutes a game. Amir Ali, 12.5 minutes per game. I know that Joson Sannon gets a lot of minutes normally. 26.7 minutes coming off the bench. But when he was out, there wasn't anything to go to. I mean, that outside of those guys and Austin Nunez, who averaged 11 minutes in 4 games, and he's out for the year, no one else gets on the court. And certainly nobody else is performing to where you would need them to perform for someone that is coming off of the bench. You need more than what you're getting, and it's not there. Just not getting what you need. Rebounding is better, I guess, but it still feels like they get eaten off the glass at times. Assists feel pretty good. It does feel like the ball gets moved around quite a bit. But as a whole, when I look at this team, there's just a lot that's not there that needs to be there. They got to figure it out. And I just don't know if it's too late or not. I am really curious with Sannon healthy if he can help turn the season around. Because he's essentially played 1 full game of Big 12 basketball, because he appeared in, was it the Kansas game, where he played a handful of minutes and then was out because he just was not healthy. Ooh, excuse me. Outside of that, you just haven't had him. So this was really his second game of Big 12 basketball, and he was whatever. There was some big plays from him defensively. There was some decent shooting from him, but Iowa State definitely did everything that they could to make sure that he didn't get those opportunities to take advantage of any open looks, and he still was making some really good shots. But, I mean, he did foul out of the game. ASU in a lot of foul trouble in this game, by the way. 23 fouls. Now, granted, Iowa State also committed 20. It was the refs had their whistle just in their mouth the whole game. They had no problem calling stuff. But they've just got to be better. Sam was only able to shoot the ball 6 times, connected on 3 of them. Did not get to the free throw line. That's another thing they got to be better at. There's so much they're not doing right now. You don't have one single superstar on this team. BJ Freeman averaging 12.2 points. I feel like Bashir Jihad has been the best player on this team. He's averaging 12.6. He's good. He's quality, but they who can take over a game when they need him to. And I think Sannon can be that guy, and he's just not there yet. And we've seen Quaintance flirting with it. He is almost averaging a double-double a game. He's over 10 points per game now, 10.3. and he is at 8.8 rebounds. Like, he has been coming alive. This game against Iowa State, he wasn't there. I don't think that if he played the full game that anything would have changed. Because even when he was eventually knocked out of the game, it felt like ASU still had a chance. And by the time everything got away from him, I mean, that's when Sandin had fouled out and everything like that. But I think Sandin is probably your best opportunity to have someone who can just take over the game by himself. Quaintance will be able to get there, but there's no single superstar on this team at this point in time, and you need that. You need it. You need someone who can just take over and do whatever they need to do to win basketball games for ASU. And they are not there. That's where they're getting killed right now. That's where they're getting killed right now. It's another Bobby Hurley team. Tons of promise, a good amount of hype, except this year it was an extreme amount of hype. But we do this every year to ourselves. And I was incredibly guilty of it this year. If you watch Locked On Sun Devils and you watch the basketball content that was going on throughout the summer, you know how high I was on this team. And I may have led you astray because I led myself astray. And my apologies on my behalf. This has been hard to watch. It's not impossible. They could still turn it around. They could. They really, really could if Sandin stays healthy and he becomes a more consistent weapon in the offense. If Jaden Quaintance continues to build on what he's doing, if BJ Freeman and Bashir Jihad can continue to be the forces they've been, and if Adam Miller is able to find some more consistency on a half-to-half basis, not even a game-to-game basis, ASU can do it. Alston Mason has played some very good basketball this year, and he's run the point very well, stepping in for Frankie Collins. The pieces are there. There's the only thing that's stopping ASU is themselves. Bobby Hurley is the only thing that is stopping this Bobby Hurley team right now. The turnovers are ridiculous. They've got to get better there. They've got to stop getting into ticky-tacky fouls, because we can sit here and we can complain about the refs, and it's totally valid. Like I said, these refs, excuse me, they were loving the sound of that whistle in this game. There was a lot that ASU deserved, though. There was a lot of fouls that ASU absolutely deserved. It is what it is. All right. Let's go ahead and hop in the comments. You guys are popping right now. I appreciate you guys for hopping in. Lots of my usual guys in here. BC, what's going on? Go Devils and NIT. I would love an NIT at this point in time. That's pretty much all that I feel like we're playing for anymore. Low Tone Capone, what's going on? We should be used to this by now. We should be. And I think we are. The problem is you went into this year with the excitement. And I take blame for that for people who watch the show. But I know there's thousands of people who don't watch Locked On Sun Devils that were also super invested in this basketball team this year. And Bobby Hurley has that documentary that brings the money in. Sandin has that, was it Under Armour? He has some deal that brings the NIL in. Like, it felt like, oh my God, basketball's catching up. And it's just not there. Jay Bird, what's going on? They seem young, which is fine. You have some great players, bright future. 100% agree. I'm just worried about the retention, which we talked about before. You're losing Freeman, Jihad, Mason, Miller, and Phillips for eligibility. Phillips might still have 1 year. Adam is going to be done. Phillips is listed as a junior, so he has 1 more year if he decides to return. But for your 5 starters, once again, Freeman, Jihad, Alston, and Adam Miller are all gone. There's no retention here. And there's no guarantees that Quaintance is back. Now, I do feel good that Quaintance will be back. I have confidence. This team right now is not making me confident of anything. Sandin and I have no idea. He's already declared. I don't know if he gets drafted right now, but the NFL or NBA draft is just so fluid. So, who knows? Cactus Johnny, what's going on? Good to see you in here. Alton Mason could be a backup point guard on a Big 12 team. Guards play is piss poor this year. I don't disagree at all. We're not getting what we need to be getting. Freeman God, there's games where it feels like BJ Freeman can just be so good. And then there's games where you're left really underwhelmed. I mean, let's look at since we got into Big 12 play. Against BYU, 11 points. Need more. Colorado, 19 points. Okay, that's much better. Kansas, 10 points. Not good. Next two games. Baylor, 22. UCF, 26. That's what we need. Cincinnati, 12. West Virginia, 14. And today against Iowa State, 9. You need the consistency out of BJ Freeman because when he's going, this offense is going. And then Alston Mason, I know he's not the most productive player when it comes to scoring or anything, 11.4 points per game. And he's also not been good in Big 12 play. He actually has 4 games out of 8 games. Half of his games he's in single digits for points. It's got to be better. I like what Alston does for you as running the point though and calling everything. That much is super valuable to me. I see that in the way that Frankie Collins was doing the same thing for the team last year, but I don't disagree with you. The guard play has to be better. Sandin missing time has really not helped this team though. What else is going on? Danny, what is going on, my friend? If we had a true point guard, that would be nice. Alston Mason is too short, in my opinion. He is 6'2". He is definitely on the shorter side. He gets overwhelmed way too easily, I think. It's not that I disagree, but there's these flashes where you're like, that's what we need. Look at just before halftime, 1.9 seconds on the shot clock. They pass it in, and almost at the logo, I mean, Alston just throws this thing up and drains it. We're sitting there and we're like, why don't you do that more often? We know you can do that. We have seen the flashes of Alston Mason being one of the more consistent players on this team, and then he turns into the most inconsistent player on the team. Him and Adam Miller, and my goodness, when Adam Miller is on, man, good luck trying to stop him. But again, it feels like he's on for a half, or it feels like he's on for 15 minutes, and then he's gone for 20, and then he comes back on in the last couple of minutes. Like, you just can't find a full 40 minutes out of Adam Miller. God, if you could, you would be able to figure it out. Man, that Cyclone crowd was deep. That's really unfortunate. At home, because I had my day job today, so I wasn't able to make it out to the game. I'm sitting there watching it and how loud it is. And I have to sit there and convince myself that that's ASU fans when I know full well that was a very pro Iowa State fan base. I did think it was a pretty decent showing from ASU, considering where the season's at. Student section was still loud. The ASU football team in attendance was so cool. Bringing the Big 12 trophy, that is some type stuff right there. That was tough. And I was like, okay, that's going to set the tone when it comes to trash talking. And it certainly did. And it felt like it fed into the game. This game was tight for 35 minutes, man. Like, as you're watching it, they led at halftime by 7. You're watching this game and you're like, dude, they might have a chance. They might get a statement win, and you better believe they're storming the court for taking down number 3. It would have been something, but they couldn't finish. And that leads us perfectly to BC's comment. They can, if they can finish 500, that would be an accomplishment. It would be. It really would be. There's, what did we say, 12 more games left, right? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 more games left. If you can go 8-4, you can turn the season around, but you're also talking about 10-10 in conference play. And then hopefully make a run. And the inconsistency is what has been losing them games this year. Because when I look at the schedule, I sit there and I go, should it beat Baylor? Should it beat UCF? Should it beat Cincinnati? Should it beat Iowa State? Well, that's 4 games. You're talking about 6-2 instead of 4-2. You're talking about a ranked basketball team at that point in time. Can't finish games, man. Winning the Big 12 tournament is still a thing, right? Not for ASU, but it sure is. Sergeant Donald, good to see you in here, sir. Thanks for checking in. Wife and I turned to the ice. ASU hockey is fun. Basketball is dead. if you guys are not watching ASU hockey, you've got to watch ASU hockey. That's a special team. Number 11 in the country. The problem is it's hard to find and watch. I do know that at least for majority of the start of the year, Fox Sports 910 on your AM radio does a radio broadcast for the games. So at least you can get that much. Or like I said, they used to. Hopefully they still do, because this is a team worth watching, a team worth talking about. They got a 4-star recruit yesterday. This is a hockey school, ladies and gentlemen, just like we all predicted. And of course, hockey should stay in the desert. That's all. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, no, if you guys have not watched ASU hockey, you should definitely watch ASU hockey. BC, I can't figure out how to watch ASU hockey or baseball. Baseball season is not here yet. They should be starting their training here pretty soon, though. That should be right around the corner. And then, yeah, I'm not sure where ASU hockey is. I feel like ESPN Plus carries it at times, but yeah, I don't know. It's tough to find those. Sergeant, if you don't mind dropping in the comments where you and your wife are able to find it, that would be awesome for the rest of us as well. Cardinal Sin 96, good to see you back in here, my friend. Deja vu. Assuming we continue this trend and once again fall short of the tournament, please tell me why Bobby should be coaching here another year. Why should he? He shouldn't. Why will he? He can't do much better. ASU as a basketball program is as okay as it gets. They've gone to the tournament twice with Hurley. They would have gone 3 times, but then COVID hit. And man, it really did feel like COVID just completely turned the trajectory of this program around, because when you had Remy Martin and Kamani Lawrence running the court with Bobby Hurley and they were bringing guys in, that was a phenomenal team. But the postseason was canceled. And it just felt like ever since then, this program has been in flux and in a tailspin. And now we're wondering, can you ever get back to that point? This was the year that you were hoping you would be able to get back to that point. Does not appear to be the case. So should he be here next year? I don't know. I lean towards no. Will he be? I guess you're not guaranteed with a new athletic director, and there's only one more year on his deal. But who are you going to get? Who are you going to incentivize to come to this program? I don't know. And the NIL is certainly on the way up, but you're still way behind, especially other Big 12 schools. Yeah, you're not competing with Arizona, with Houston, with Iowa State. Baylor is a good program more often than not. Like, there are teams in this conference that are just Kansas, obviously, are so much better equipped to continue competing on an annual basis than Arizona State is at this point in time. So there's a lot of stuff. And I just don't know if you can find a way to get someone to this program. The other thing that I would ask you, Bobby Hurley leaves, I mean, unless you're pulling like a proven head coach, like somehow, I don't even know who you could pluck from college right now unless Dan Hurley is coming to Arizona State. Like, you're going to lose a lot of the team that's already not here. You're blowing the thing up, and you're going from a mediocre team to probably the worst team in the Big 12, and you're already not that far off, man. Cactus Johnny, play Trevor Best. What do you got to lose at this point? We don't know like anything about him. Let's get to know him a little bit. What we do know is him and Quaintance played together in high school over at, well, it was Raleigh. God, I can't remember the name of that school. I used to know it off the top of my head. But they played together, and I know that Trevor Best, I believe, was going to be a 3-star, and he certainly is someone they brought in to make sure that Quaintance has a reason to stay between NIL, coach, or playing under Coach Hurley and now one of his best friends at this program. You're trying to surround him with reasons to continue staying, because he has to play one more year. He's not draft eligible. I don't know if you hear that or not when you watch. I also don't know if you know this. He's only 17 years old. Crazy, right? It's something. Trade Bobby Hurley for his brother. Dude, I'd do it in a heartbeat if I could. Utah Hockey Club is some name. They just got the Yetis strike down. I don't know if you guys saw that or not. They cannot be the Utah Yetis. They got shut down because of not a minor league team, but something like that. So when they eventually find their name, I don't know what they're going to do. I used to like the idea, totally off topic. I liked the Utah Blizzard. I think that was fine. My dad loves the Venom. Venom is really interesting. But like a purple mascot, not like Venom, the symbiote from Spider-Man, which would be amazing. Let's keep going here. Cardinal Sin. There's a local channel that sometimes has the hockey games. I forget which channel it is. Yeah, if you guys find out, please let me know, and then we can let everyone in the comments know too. Hooray with mediocrity. Google searches how many days until ASU versus NAU kickoff. I did that the other day. Let's take a look. I posted that on Twitter. How many days was it? It was like 222 days when I posted it. That was on Monday, I believe. Let's take a look. It was 222 days on the 20th. So Cardinal Sin, it is 217 days until kickoff against NAU. Cactus Johnny, Trevor Best should get majority of the minutes moving forward, retaining JQ and Sannon, and Best is all that matters at this point. Yeah. You just need to make sure that you hold on to those guys. I really have no idea with Sannon. He already declared to go in the draft, but I'm pretty positive he can withdraw. I don't think he has officially like signed a document that, hey, I am forfeiting the remainder of my eligibility to go pro. He can go to G League. Like there's all sorts of directions he can go. He can flat out transfer and go to a blue blood program, go to Arkansas and play with, I seriously just don't know names today. Apparently former Kentucky head coach, because that's where Quaintance was going to play. So he may not be here next year. Hopefully he is. Holy cow, we're already at 32 minutes. That's crazy. It does not feel like I've been yapping for that long. Can we just beat U of once this year? I won't ask for anything else outside of letting Hurley go. I don't think there's anything I would love more than to somehow beat U of A this year. And if you're going to do it, this is the year to do it. This has not been the best U of A team. They were terrible to start the year, and they have gotten much better. Of their last, how many games is this? 9 games to 9. What is that? 10 of their last 11? 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9 of their last 10. They've won 9 of their last 10 games, and they are 7-1 in conference play. So they're getting hot at the right time, but this is still a beatable team that just has not been firing as much as we've seen them in recent years. And God, am I still happy that Caleb Love decided to come back and hold that unit down. But still U of A. They're still a powerhouse basketball program. They're not the blue blood they want everyone to believe they are. It's exactly that. They are the paper tiger. You got all this bark and nothing to back it up. We have a championship. You do. And ASU doesn't. You'll always have that. That thing was in the 90s. I don't think I was born yet. And every year you just can't do anything with a team that's supposed to be contending for a title. You can hold that over ASU fans' heads all you want, by the way. No one here is impressed right now. We're not a basketball school. Would we like to be? Yeah, of course we would. We'd love to contend on an annual basis. But all of that is neither here nor there. 1997. So I would have been 2 years old when they hoisted a title. And it's their only title. You're not a blue blood. All right. Let's go ahead and start wrapping this up. I don't want to talk about U of A anymore. I don't want to talk about the Utah Hockey Club anymore. I want to finish up with some thoughts, and I'll continue reading your guys' comments as well. I want to finish up with some thoughts on this team. I think the absolute best case scenario is somehow going 8-4. But, I mean, keep in mind, you still have U of A twice. We can chalk that up as 2 losses for now. You play Texas Tech twice. That could be 2 losses. You're playing Houston. That's a loss. Let's see. K-State's bad. Colorado's bad. You already beat Colorado once for what it's worth. Oklahoma State is meh. TCU is meh. You play Utah this year. They're meh. But, I mean, I already see 5 losses. And now you're telling me we have to find more along the way with the way this team's playing? I just don't think I see it. Absolute best case possible is going 8-4. And I don't know where those 8 wins are. But that gets you to a 500 record in conference. You go 10-10 at that point. You finish the year 19-12. You get a little bit of momentum going into the Big 12 championship game. That's pretty much the only thing that can save you at this point in time. Should Bobby Hurley be back this year? Next year? I don't know, but I just don't know what direction you would go. I don't know that anything is here to bring in someone significant, someone that can recruit like Hurley can, and someone that can fill out seats, fill out that stadium, which desperately needs to get upgraded. And I'm tired of whatever excuses we're using at this point to say we can't upgrade it. You need to find a way. I don't know. That part gets very, very frustrating. Is the season over? I always go to that Animal House quote. It's one of my favorite scenes in any movie ever, where everyone's down and guy goes, "Was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor?" Hell no. And it ain't over now. And everyone's like, Germans, and forget it. He's on a roll. Like, that's the mentality I have to have. We're 11-8, 2-6 in the conference. The season's over. It wasn't over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor. That's pretty much all I can say at this point. They could turn it around. The talent's there, man. The talent is absolutely there. And there's games that they should have won, but they didn't because they shot themselves in the foot. They got to find a way to be able to turn that stuff around. This team is too talented to not rebound from this season. Quaintance, Sannon have got to take that next step. I think Quaintance already has. We need Sannon to get healthy and continue developing. We need Jihad to probably step up and be the best player on this team. Like I said, I think he is at this point in time your best player. Freeman, we need the consistency. Mason need the consistency. Adam Miller need the consistency. It's a lot of consistency issues, man. Real quick before we close out, shout out Sean Miller. This was a great day for him. Great day for him. 2 of 2 on field goals, 1 of 2 from the line, 4 blocks. Dude, he played a great game. 19 minutes, too. Is that a season high for him? It sure was. Tied a season high in the first game of the year against Idaho State. He played 19 minutes. So it was awesome to see him on the court. And I know part of that was because Jayden Quaintance was in foul trouble all game, so you needed to give him some breaks and everything. But I definitely feel like Sean Phillips was one of the best players on the court in this game. This is hopefully one that can start getting him some more time. But we'll see, man. But this team is too talented to continue floundering and playing at the rate they're at right now. They should be a much, much, much better basketball team. Hopefully they can find a way to turn it around. And I wouldn't say I believe in it. I know they're capable of it from a talent level. They're capable of from coaching, from execution. I don't know. It's bleak. The outlook is bleak. I don't want to say the season is over, but I think expectations of going to the tournament are over. And for me and you, because that would be my season, if you feel the same way, then yeah, the season's probably over. But maybe they can end the year on a high note. Maybe somehow they can get to the 20-win mark. Maybe they win 6 games, and then somehow they have a really good run in the Big 12 conference bracket. Like you could. 9 wins is asking a lot, man. I don't know. What do you guys think? We've had a good conversation. If you are tuning in to this live, appreciate you guys for tuning in. If you are catching up, because this live is available everywhere, still, please drop a comment. I want to know what you guys think. A few more comments here, and then we will wrap it up as we approach the 40-minute mark. ASU has produced the most number 1 draft picks in Major League Baseball history. They've got to turn it around, man. I love Willie Bloomquist. And I think that he could be the right guy for the job. And he certainly epitomizes Activate the Valley as being a former alumni and a former standout baseball player of the program. And they can't get there. There's no pitching. We have hitters. We just had Spencer Torkelson as the number one pick a handful of years ago. The hitting is there. There's no pitching. Dude, if you got a right or a left arm and you can throw, I think you should try out. But baseball should be able to get there, and hopefully they do. We need some voodoo magic to bring John Wooden back. Oh my gosh. I think we need to somehow get James Harden back on this team, is what I think. I think Sandin has the highest ceiling. I definitely do. I think Sandin, in terms of scoring, has the highest ceiling, and he's good defensively too. I think as an overall player, it's still Quaintance, but Sandin could be something very, very special. Make or break season for Bloomquist. It certainly is. And then Jay Bird will round out with you. The freshmen looked like the best players. They do. And it's not that that's a bad thing, but you just need more from your veterans, man. And I know they're capable of doing it. Bashir brings it every single game. And then there's just too much inconsistency from the rest of the guys. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up there, though. This has been an over 41-minute live, so thank you guys for tuning in. It's a blast when we're able to do these. These are so much fun. So really, really appreciate it, guys. If you have not subscribed to the channel yet, definitely subscribe. Share the podcast. Leave a like. Turn on notifications, and you'll get the update when we post new content. We will be back again on Monday. Honestly, it might be another basketball episode because I think at this point in time, this is a very, very important conversation we need to have. And there's been a lot of football talk on the channel, and I think we need to talk about basketball some more, especially with the future of this team and what happens next. So I'll be back again on Monday, whether it's football, whether it's basketball, whether it's anything else. I'll check you guys out then. Until then, you keep it locked right here on Locked On Sun Devils. See you guys next.